June 26 is Anti-Torture Day. It is also Anti-Drugs Day. Both these decisions are being implemented internationally, but in India at least we find that while the Anti-Drugs Day or the abuse by the drugs is being observed officially by the government and also by voluntary organizations, community groups, the other topic, that is campaigning against torture on the day, has become very limited, just observed by very few human rights groups. It is quite natural that the government is not taking interest in observing the day, which means remembering the torture by the state machinery, because more or less the government itself is responsible for widespread torture by the state agencies. But it is important that this very big abuse should be addressed by the civil society in order to protect the lives and liberties of the individuals, citizens of any country. United Nations has decided in a convention against torture way back in 1987, which means 35 years before, and about 160 or more than 160 countries have signed in this convention. But unfortunately or surprisingly, countries including India, in spite of the fact that they have signed it or ratified it, it was not followed by appropriate enactment by the parliament or making of anti-torture laws. In India, we find that the torture in police custody as well as torture in prison, both are on increase in spite of strict provisions against custodial and jail torture in this country. Article 21 of the Indian Constitution is a warning to the state authorities and the government agencies against implicating any kind of torture, because Constitution specifically states that no one should be deprived of life or liberty except with due process of law, that is according to the provisions of law. We find that either in police custody or under judicial custody of the under trial prisoners, torture is inflicted upon the accused or the jailed persons in order to dig out the information that they need, the prosecution or the government needs or the authorities needs, and also to take confession statement from them. But our criminal laws very clearly says that statements made under police custody, compulsion, and also confessions made under police custody and compulsion has no validity while it comes before courts of law or during the trial. And this NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, has stated that, or in its report pertaining to 2016-17, in a single year 4,851 cases or complaints of custodial deaths, not merely torture, custodial deaths have come before the NHRC, and NHRC found that most of these are custodial deaths in prisons. This is the sad state of affairs, the worsening situation. Why this is on increase? Because though there are rules and regulations to punish the culprits, the persons who are responsible for this torture, mainly police and sometimes jail authorities, but when these cases are brought to the courts of law, the rate of conviction is very, very less, and majority of the responsible officers are let free by the courts. According to one statistics, out of the total number of cases that are being brought before courts of law, the conviction rate is only 5%. That means in 95% of the cases, the officers, the police personnel or jail personnel who are responsible for this torture, custodial torture or custodial death are not at all punished. This situation emboldens the police and other authorities to go more and more in this exercise, unlawful exercise of custodial torture. Of course, this is a very serious issue of human rights violation, citizens' right to life and liberty, and all sections of the state and society have a role to play to put an end to, at least to bring down the rate of custodial tortures in our country. The role of government is very important. Mostly or in many cases, the custodial torture is done as per the direction or to protect the interest of the government. So the governments must understand, any government, central or state government, must understand that they have to uphold the rule of law and they have no right, constitutional or legal or democratic right, to use the government machinery, the government system, the government personnel to oppress people and to suppress them under compulsion in lockups and prisons. The role played by media also needs to be changed, because those police persons who torture the innocent people and even those people who kill the innocents in custody by encounter, instead of questioning them and generating public opinions against them, our media mainly tries to glorify them as great heroes, and that in turn creates a public opinion in favor of not only torture, police torture, but even police encounters. So this attitude has to be changed and the media has to democratize its approach towards this heinous crime of custodial torture. And moreover, the judiciary has to be given, or the judiciary has to give more attention, more seriousness, or take more proactive steps to give severe punishments to the culprits and to ensure that no culprits are escaping on technical grounds. Last but not least is the role of the general public. Public must aware that police don't have such a power to inflict torture upon the accused or the persons in custody under any circumstances for any purpose. So when such things happens to a person or somebody else, the person himself or the people around him must come forward to fight it legally and book case against the police people who are responsible for such torture. And above all, public support when such things happens, such reports, such incidents comes to our notice as citizens of this republic, as human beings. It is our responsibility to stand with those people, stand with those victims, and also raise our voice against the oppressors, the instances where the people are unlawfully targeted and tortured.